Joining us now on the Jimmer Fredette Watch is John Reid of the New Orleans Time-Picayune. John, good to have you back on BYU Sports Nation.
Good to be on. How you doing, guys?
Fantastic this morning. Let's start with the recent trade between the Pelicans and I believe the Grizzlies and the Celtics. Austin Rivers gets traded to the Celtics, and that would seemingly open up Jimmer. Now, what is the effect of this most recent trade on Jimmer Fredette and his playing status in New Orleans?
Well, it's only been one game, which was last night, but he's going to get more of an opportunity to come off the bench and play both those guard spots. A lot of his play last night, he really handled the ball a little bit more than he has in the past. But Monty Williams, the thing about this Pelican team and Monty Williams, I mean, it's just you don't never know what he's going to do as far as his bench rotation. It's been very inconsistent. I think has nothing to do with certain players and their ability to play, but it's just been real inconsistent. But he said before the Boston trip that this is an opportunity for Jimmer to sort of grab hold to, and we're going to see how he handles it. And we all know Jimmer is a guy, he puts his work in. If he gets the opportunity, he should make the most of it. But everything is, I feel, it just remains to be seen how effective, what is the situation going to be as far as, is this going to be something that's sustained, or is something where they're evaluating him on extra minutes being played, and then they'll go from there. But like I say, the main thing is Monty's rotation has just been inconsistent the whole season.
John, what effect has that inconsistency in the rotation had on Jimmer's play on the court, in your opinion?
Well, I thought early, particularly last month, I think it had an effect that it bothered his confidence, even whether or not he didn't say that. But, you could tell that he was hesitant to take some shots. And I'll be honest with you, for any NBA player, when you have an uncertain rotation like that and you're kind of playing, looking over your shoulder, if you make one mistake or make two mistakes, he's going to take you out the game. I also thought when Austin Rivers was with the Pelicans, he had more of an opportunity to play through his mistakes than Jimmer Fredette and some of the other backup guys. But I thought it had an effect on him that it bothered his confidence a little bit. But over the last 7 games, that even when Austin Rivers was still on the roster, his minutes started to increase. And, his ability is, I think the big thing that the Pelicans want him to do, particularly Monty Williams, is improve as a defender. And I think he's in that process of improving as a defender. And that was some of the things that he said kind of correlated with his reduced role in minutes. He said that Jimmer, he didn't get off the bench against Memphis the other night. And he said the reason was because he didn't like the matchup. He didn't feel that Jimmer could be a good defensive stopper against someone like a Mike Conley or Uric, which is their backup guard. And what he's really trying to pinpoint, I guess he doesn't want Jimmer to play against bigger type of guards. And I don't know about that. I just think you got to give the way I feel about your bench rotation. See what you have each game. Allow those guys to get some minutes. See if they got the hot hand or not. If they don't, then you structure your minutes around that. But he's been saying that, he had to reduce the bench rotation because he thought he was playing too many guys. So we'll see about that.
John Reid, New Orleans Pelicans beat writer for the Times-Picayune. You can follow him on Twitter at JohnReid64. John, do you feel like if given the opportunity, meaning Jimmer would play 15 to 20 minutes on a regular basis, that he could make himself a more valuable option for Monty Williams and the Pelicans?
Yeah, I agree with that, but I would agree with that for any role player.
Okay.
I think the thing with Jimmer, what the Pelicans have to realize, that you got to, if you brought him in to be your scorer, there's going to be some games where he's going to make more shots, and there's going to be some games where he doesn't make as many shots as he did in the last game. But when you're talking about what you just said, playing 15 minutes consistently and getting those minutes consistently where he's not looking over his shoulder and really having an opportunity to really get adjusted. You know, another thing I think with the problem with Jimmy is he's not really getting adjusted to the rotation with the guys that he has on the floor. Example was last night. You know, he was playing on the ball, then he played off the ball, and then you had Tyreke Evans handling the ball, then he went back to shooting guard. And the flip-flopping, I mean, I think they got to define his role. I mean, it's kind of difficult for anybody that you would think that it's January. We're more than a third of the season complete, and the roles are not defined. And that's a problem with the coach. I think that if you allow him to play, allow him to be the player that he is, don't try to remake him, don't try to redefine him, and allow him to be who he is, which is a scorer. Get him the ball if you're going to make him a point guard, and allow that to happen. But don't flip flop. Don't play him off the ball 2 games, and then the 4th game he's back handling the ball. So I think you got to have a consistent role for him and allow him to develop into the role. Give him consistent minutes, and then make a evaluation. I think you're making evaluations before he's having an opportunity to really show what he can do for you.
Which leads me to my next question. This is year 4, not year 1 or say 2 with Jimmer. Is he what he is? Is he what we see currently in the NBA? Or is he something better if he has a bigger opportunity?
I think he can. I think he's an NBA player. I know a lot of people say he had the problems in Sacramento. I mean, I'm not in the practices every day. I've seen him in games. I've seen what he can do. I saw what he did against Houston. He made 4 of 8 shots in that game. I think you have to set him screens more to get him open shots. I don't think he's a player where he's going to beat the guy and shoot over a defender. They're going to throw rotations at him and make it difficult for Jimmer. But you have to design plays to know exactly. You know what he is. You know he's a shooter. He can penetrate. He can handle the ball, and you have to put him in those type of positions where you're going to get the best production from him. I thought many times this season that they don't really take advantage of what his talent strengths are. You know, I mean, if that's what he is, then you got to come up with the play design to take advantage of what he's going to bring you to the table. And I thought a lot of times they haven't done that. If he's a guy that you can get you some shots, if he's open and set screens up and allow him to go around the screen, if he's open, get him the ball and let him shoot, because that's the role of a bench player. If he's coming in to be a scorer, then you have to, as a coach and the system, have to make the system work for the guy that you brought in this summer to help you in that role. They did it with Anthony Morrow last year. He was sort of like a spot-up shooter. So they got him play sets where he was on the corner threes and that kind of thing after screens were set up. And that's what they're going to have to do with Jimmer. And I think, and I say this, I think if he plays 10, 12, 13, 14 minutes a game for the rest of this season, be consistent, I think he can turn into that player that everybody expects for him to be. I don't think he's going to be a 28-point scorer like he was at BYU. I don't think he's going to be that type of player in the NBA, but I think he can be an effective player if he gets you 15 minutes a game and gets you 12, 13 points a game, 10, somewhere in that range, and do the things that he needs to do in the key moments of the game where he can make that shot from the perimeter. Then you got a strong guy that can help you on the bench, and that's the type of system that he has to really work with to get the most of his talents, and that hadn't happened yet with the Pelicans.
John, great insight into the Jimmer Fredette situation in New Orleans. We appreciate the time, and hopefully we'll be talking to you in the future about future Jimmer success.
Appreciate guys for having me on. Thanks a lot.